3, 2, 1. And welcome to the inaugural launch of the African Film Festival Atlanta. The African Film Festival Atlanta is a signature event of the African Film and Arts Foundation, a non-profit media arts organization whose mission is to magnify and celebrate the visions, voices, lives, and stories of people from Africa and the African diaspora. Excuse me. Our live discussion today is with the director of the short documentary Awani, Aderonke Adeola, and the short narrative, The Land of Filth, Seun Sonoiki, moderated by Dr. Abosede George. Just a brief intro about our guests. Aderonke Adeola is a writer, director, and producer. She is currently promoting her short documentary Awani, which recently won a UNESCO award. Awani was supported by the Ford Foundation and has been screened at several film festivals, including the Yale African Film Festival, New York African Film Festival, and Durban African Film Festival. Awani was also won an award of merit from the Impact Documentary Awards 2019. Excuse me. She's currently researching her next project. In addition to filmmaking, she's a freelance writer and has written for The Guardian and This Day newspaper, which are Nigerian newspapers. Her writing covers art, culture, interviews, and gender. As a filmmaker, she has worked on projects for Red TV and worked on the award-winning film, Half of a Yellow Sun. So welcome, Aderonke.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. So the next person we're introducing is Seun Sonoiki. He is the director of the film, The Land of Filth. He's a film director, producer, and cinematographer and writer based in Lagos, Nigeria, where he also runs his film production outfit, Shefi Productions. He made his directorial debut with the made-for-TV feature, Mixed Feelings, which was commissioned by Ebony Life TV in Nigeria in 2015. His directing and producing credits also include Midnight Blues, which is on Iroko TV, Dare the Orange Boy, Her Father's Daughter, and he was the DP for the award-winning film, Dazzling Mirage by Nigerian filmmaker Tunde Kalani. His TV commercial directing work includes big brands like Damatol, MTN, Glow, and Cornerstone. So welcome, Seun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And our dear professor, moderator, who is also on our board of the African Film and Art Foundation and was gracious enough to accept our invitation to moderate. Excuse me 1 second. Dr. George is an associate professor, of history at Barnard College and Columbia University in New York. She teaches courses in urban history, the history of childhood and youth in Africa, and the study of women, gender, and sexuality in African history. Her book, Making Modern Girls, A History of Girlhood, Labor, and Social Development, was published in 2014 by Ohio University Press and received the Idle Snyder Book Prize in 2015 from the Women's Caucus of the African Studies Association, as well as an honorable mention from the New York African Studies Association. She's currently working on the Ecopolitan Project, a digital forum dedicated to historical research on migrant communities in 19th and 20th century Lagos, West Africa. Prof, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. This is now my cue to log off, and Prof is going to kick off the conversation with our two directors, and then I'll be back. All right, have fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ronke. Thank you, Seun, for being here and for your films. Your wonderful films that I got to screen. And I think I'm just going to get into some questions. They're about the films, but they're also about you as artists, as individuals. And the first question I had was inspired by thinking about the craft of filmmaking and how it might relate to the craft of writing or trying to write a history, trying to put together any big creative project, basically, right? And I was wondering, for your part and your projects, how long did this project take to germinate inside of you and to complete outside of you? You can answer this by talking about, the technical aspects of pulling the project together, or also, start from where was the idea, like where do you think the spark even was for such a project to come into the world? So you take either approach to answering the question, but the question basically is, how long overall did this project take you to bring to life, and why, why? Maybe I could ask Seun to go first, and then I'll ask Ronke.
Okay. So I think this is one of my shortest project ever, in the sense of from pre-production to production to post-production, everything took within 2 weeks. The idea came from, I met Mr. Tony, the executive producer. He's a biker, and he has I think 2 biking groups in Nigeria and in the States. So, and he wanted something to appeal to the biking world, So I met him over lunch, and he's a big fan of Guy Ritchie. He's a big fan of Nollywood, a big fan of explosions and stuff like that. So he wanted something, and frankly, he kind of threw a challenge to me, and I think I like working under pressure, because we wrote, shot and edited that thing within a space of a month or so. So it was tedious. We shot over 2 days, and it was, imagine trying to shoot 35 scenes in 2 days. It was not easy at all, but it was challenging. And like I said, I think I worked best under pressure, and I really, 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 really liked the challenge. And it was fun. It was fun also. That's the most important thing in filmmaking. Have fun.
Okay, how about you? How long did it take?
So this was my first independent project, and it took much longer. So there were 2 elements. There was the financial element, getting the finances together, but also the psychological element, just having the confidence to put it out there. I would stop and start. And when I say stop and start, I mean the entire process, from researching to filming. And also I was quite, I think I was quite overwhelmed, in the sense that there was so much I wanted to tell. So I mean, I'm proud of the film, but I'm sure that by seeing, obviously I released it 2 years ago, so I'm proud of it, but I'm also emotionally distanced. That there were a lot of ideas that I wanted in the film, and that also added to the length of time. So it took about, on and off, about 18 months to get it together. I mean, part of the issue was financing. There's not a lot of financial support for documentaries outside of commercial, for brands or businesses. So it took a while.
Maybe I want to pick up on that. Have you both talk about the financing, right? So an independent documentary project involving all sorts of research, and how does one get such a thing financed? Documentaries are so important, but they're not, as commercially, how would you say? They're not commercially equal to, let's say, a blockbuster film, like a fiction. But Seun, also you talk about your financing structure, because it sounds like the executive producer had a dream and a wallet, and maybe that's how it came together, or okay, not at all. So please fill us in. So starting with Ronke, how does a documentary get financed in Nigeria today? How did yours do?
It's luck. However, for me personally, I got a grant. I was really fortunate. The Ford Foundation saw value in what I was doing. One of their pillars at the time was women inclusion in the political process, and Awani touches on that. But now, I mean, it's still grants. But something interesting has happened. Netflix has licensed quite Journey of an African Colony. So I think obviously I don't work at Netflix, so I don't know what the viewership is, but I think that's caused quite a stir in the industry. So I'm hoping, this is one documentary series, but I'm hoping that, things could, that could mean something for the industry, but you have to, it's either self-funded or you look for organizations that have an overlap with the kinds of stories that you want to tell. That's been my journey so far.
Okay, so Journey of an African Colony, that's the documentary series by Shasori.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, now licensing documentaries, right? But for a long time, licensing fiction, exciting films, the kinds of things that you make, Seun. So how did yours get financed? Since I misread it completely.
Well, no finance. No, we practically did it with It was a very low budget, but we tried to make it as
self-finance.
Yeah, it was self-financed, but we tried to make it. We tried to shoot it as big budget as possible. In fact, I put in a lot of favors. Same thing with the executive producers, put in a lot of favors, and again, there was no budget really. There was no budget. There was no finance. It was just okay. We just had to do this for the love of the game, so to say. So put in favors. Okay, the little we had. Okay, pay. We didn't pay the standard fee. So like probably, in fact, my DP actually told me like went ghost on me a day before shoot because he got a better job. He got a paying job. So I had to like scramble around the industry, make phone calls and say, I beg. Just had to do this because there was no turning back. There was no actors were locked. Location was begged and locked for. So there was no turning back. We just had to do it. So no finance. Let me just put it that way. No finance, no budget.
Well, nothing has no finance, right? It's just a matter of how would you describe it? I think definitely self-finance and definitely.
Yeah, but kudos to the EP. He tried his best, and I really want to work with him over and over again because I think he has the passion for this thing. This is his first movie, by the way. So and he's really over the hills over it, and I don't know. Hopefully, we'll do more.
Oh, I want you maybe to pick up on that. I want you to speak up more on relationships in Nigerian filmmaking and the importance of the relationships in making projects happen. You're saying here that on one hand there's not finance. You have to let people go if they find a paying job, but you're also saying on the other hand that you're able to call around and still make it happen. It's like there is still like a community of creatives that you can kind of call on. And Ronke, we see in the film, in the documentary Awani, we see a number of Nigerian activists, writers, scholars. It's not just you as a filmmaker. It's there's a kind of other community that is reflected in the film. So talk about the role of kind of a creative community or a community of shared interests, shared commitments in your films. What role did that play?
Yeah, I think the movie industry in Nigeria is I would say it's community based because most of the movies being made is made with an effort of okay, we just have to do this because really we don't have the money to do what we want to do really. So the little we have, we manage, and that means you have to pull in favors. You have to. So it's just friendship. I'll say most production in Nigeria is friendship made, if there's a word like that. You get, and and I really appreciate all creative out there in the industry, writers, DPs, everybody, because this is not what it's meant to be in terms of financing. So we just have to pull our resources together, pull our connections together, and And so most people just, so that's why mostly if you found out most films, especially movie directors, they work with almost the same set of people in every single project, because those are the people they bring friendship with. Those are the people that will probably work with them in that kind of condition without enough standard pay in the sense of the word. So I think, like I said, the industry just is just one big org, so to say. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
How about you, Ronke?
So I think that what I found that was really endearing about me with my documentary is that, you know, all the people I interviewed were like, sure, of course, we do, you know, because of the intention to tell the story of women of the past, you know. So I'm definitely not a name, you know, I'm definitely not a celebrity. They're far bigger, far more popular filmmakers than myself, you know, but I think it was the intention, because I can't say, of course, I respect them, and our relationship has, I formed relationships as a result of making this film, but they weren't my friends, they weren't my buddies, we didn't hang out, you know. They're people that I really respect, and I wanted to hear their perspectives and their experiences. So I think it was, you know, my intent, you know, and we all want to tell stories that aren't commonly told, that are essential. So that was how I was able to galvanize the amazing people that took the time to be in Awani.
So the creative project created the community that you're around now. Maybe we'll take a moment to shout out our creative communities. So just a little bit, like, who do you see as your creative, you know, circle in Nigeria right now? Like, who are the like-minded folks? Who do you work with? Who do you think of when you think of, oh, if I need somebody for this or that, you know?
I think it's basically everybody I've ever worked with in the industry, because because without them, I don't.
Names, but everybody
has ever worked with Sheffield. Big up, because I know it hasn't been easy, and I know it will never be easy. But I just want to appreciate everybody, every single person, from my writer to my DP, sometimes my director, to my EPs, to the gaffer, to the as look at the bus driver. Yeah, so I really want to appreciate everybody.
That's wonderful.
I think I feel really lucky. Like, again, this was my first. I don't have as many films as Seun has, you know. So I think people were really open to. So many people were open, from, you know, Lola Shonei of the Ake Festival, who let me premiere my film there. She had only seen the trailer because we were editing the film till 2 weeks before the film came out. You know, there's so many people. Obviously, not to sound cliched, my family, they put up with me a lot of bad moods, a lot of crying. But yeah, there's such a, on the one hand, I think trying to make a career in the creative industry is really difficult, and it's not, there are a lot of opportunities, but I think sometimes, and I may regret saying this, but sometimes the opportunities that people speak of can be quite exaggerated. So it's, on the one hand, there are a lot of opportunities, but be careful, don't believe the hype. But what makes me happy is that for someone who is sort of still very much an outsider in the industry, you know, I got a lot of enough yeses, a lot of no's, you know. In fact, the worst ones, and I'm sure Seun will be able to relate that. So people will say yes, and then they'll say no, or they won't take your calls. You know, they're like, of course, something. And I'm not even just talking funding, just like, oh, I'll help you with this, and then they just go, they disappear, and you can't take it personally, right? So I really want to say thank you to all the people that, you know, who had very little incentive to. We don't have the biggest social media following. You know, we're not big deals yet, you know, and I also thank you to my crew, because I have to say, with the funding, what became an issue, because we didn't get our funding straight away, so it was independently funded. And I had to pay them like in tranches, right? And luckily, you know, nobody dragged me to Linda Ikeji or whatever to say that I'm not paying them on time. So so from the crew to the people who were in the film, to the people who were open to the film, and my film got into some film festivals, very happy about that. But even sort of the non-traditional, you know, I screened my film at WIMBIZ, I screened my film at the American Consulate on International Women's Day. You know, just they had no, I mean, obviously I like my film, but I think in a world where popularity is such a big deal, you know, having that like cultural capital and, you know, having your film on Netflix, like that hasn't been my narrative. But now I look back on it that, you know, for someone that didn't necessarily have a lot of the things that people use to progress in their career, you know, I got a lot of yeses, and I'm so thankful to so many people. It really takes a village to make a film, but it also takes a village to make a film successful. You know, making the film is like half of it. Then you now have to, you have to get into film festivals, you have to get it seen, you have to try and sell it, you know. It's been such a journey. I've learned so much, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I really like to ask Aderonke a question. When you were making it, or did you have a plan on how you were going to get it to the shelf, to the film shelf?
No, I was so naive because it was such a struggle to make the film. For me, the number one thing was finishing this stupid film. You know, like it took so long, it took so much time. But when I finished the film, I was like, oh my God, now I have to get it into festivals. Oh my God. So I was quite naive, even though I'm quite a logical person, because you know how it is, you more than me, that a film takes all of your time. There's no 9 to 5. It's like 6 a.m. till midnight. It's very consuming. So in terms of thinking, a marketing plan, a distribution plan, that I did not think of. I didn't think it through. But luckily, film festivals were my distribution plan. So we got into quite a few film festivals, the New York Africa Film Festival, and the Durban International Film Festival, some decent ones, you know. And so that became my distribution strategy, but it wasn't deliberate. You know, someone called me, like a friend who's also in the industry called me. She's sort of like emerging filmmaker. She's like, wow, Ronke, Awani has been such, you know, I'm so proud of you. You've been so deliberate with Awani. And I laughed. I was like, I didn't know, I didn't know what I was doing. And when it comes to film festivals, you don't know what they're looking for. Every film festival has a different theme each year. So it's really just, you know, you try and make the best film that you can, or you have the resources to. And I feel you when you said, you know, you never have enough. You know, I'm very grateful to Ford, but more would have been great. So you never have the resources. So you just, you hope, you know, like film is kind of like a wish sometimes. You know, you make this film and you hope it does well.
I want to ask about the content of the films itself. You know, I'm sure our viewers now have seen it, but for those who might be watching this later on and haven't seen the film yet, Seun's film, it's kind of a Robin Hood story. You know, there's definitely motorcycles involved. You know, there's some gangsters involved. It's a kind of, you know, dark, noirish kind of film, okay? And Awani, for anyone who still has not seen it, is a documentary really focused on the history of women and their political power and their visibility in Nigerian cultures historically, right? So both of you, on the other hand, have probably seen each of your films a million times. You've seen it over and over and over again, various forms. And I guess my question is, after seeing it so many times, you know, can you still watch it? Number one. Number two, what is the scene or the line, or what are there moments in the film that you still, that when you watch it, you still love, you know, it gives you a feeling like, oh man, that really came together, or that filming was like a great day, or wow, what is it, what are the moments that for you personally as a viewer rather than as the filmmaker that you kind of still connect to?
I don't think I've ever liked any movie I've ever made. I don't like any of my movies. Yeah, is I don't know, because because I'm always thinking, no, okay, no, I could have done this, I could have done this like, I could have done it better. Or if I had this, I could have done it this way. Oh shit, so I never liked.
That's where we all start. I could do it better. But sometimes you go back to your work and you're like, wow, that was good. To my past self, that was good. Good job.
Yeah. There was a montage scene in the movie. In fact, it was not meant to be a montage. It was meant to be like a three-page dialogue. But like I said, we didn't pay for anything. We didn't pay for location, everything. And the owner of the location was practically waiting at the door, like, okay, you guys need to get out of here. So we just have to flip the scene, flip it to a montage scene, and it came out really well. In fact, what the actors were saying had nothing to do with the movie. In fact, they were at that point in time, there was no food, they were starving, so they were complaining like, oh, if you catch the director after this movie, I'm going to break his head, he's starving me on set and everything. But in the movie, it kind of the montage scene, so you think, oh, okay, they're really talking about something serious, something business-like, but no, so we're just goofing around, and it came out really pretty well. I was like, oh, okay, thank God, yeah, like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, so something like that. So, but aside that, like I said, I don't think I like it on my project. I don't think I will ever like it on my project, because you get, if as long as it's not Avengers or Spider-Man or something, I don't think I will ever like it.
Papa, what?
Yeah,
but come on.
So if you want me to like my project, give me the money. Let me do 100 million.
As long as audiences like the project, is that it?
Yeah. So if in fact, you can even ask Sister Moji. Anytime people tell me, "Oh, I like your work," I'm like, "Okay, are you sure you're not just like?" Okay. Don't worry. If you say the truth, I won't eat you. Just tell me. Like, no, you really did. You did try. I was like, okay.
But we're always our own worst critics, right? So that's why we have to pay attention to those things that even we can see. That was good. How about you, Ronke?
So I'm 50% like Seun. So, looking at Awani, there are definitely things I would do differently. There's some things that even make me cringe, and there are definitely things I would do differently. And it's been almost 2 years later. So of course I'm a different filmmaker now. But one thing I like about Awani is the ending. Because okay, at one point in the middle it's a little bit long, it's a little bit wordy. The editing could have been slightly better. But I find that if I say so myself, I think the ending sort of justifies everything. Not to say that everything was rubbish to the ending, but the ending was probably the most cohesive part of the film. So I like the ending, but I'm quite like Seun. Like I want to do more. I want to do better. I want to even within the what I call like a small budget film, which is Awani is very much a small budget in comparison to the projects that I've made today. Even within like a restricted budget, there is still room for a little bit more creative discipline and creative flair, So I look forward to my next projects because I've learned so much and watching different films or going to different film festivals. But I like Seun, I feel you, like you want your work to be able to stand next to like the best, but I'm not as hard as he is on himself because Spider-Man and Marvel, come on, not all of them are amazing. They have a few thoughts, okay?
Yeah, but I think filmmaking is 50% problem solving. So so if you can show your creativity within that space, within the little you have, then I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, and that's, that should be on a t-shirt, filmmaking is solving a problem. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I'll buy that shirt.
Me too.
Especially in Nigeria.
So that's our cue to go to the audiences and the audience Q&A. There's so much more we could talk about. We see you guys are even interviewing each other already, so the conversation is flowing.
Okay, so some of the questions is future of Nigerian cinema. What are your thoughts on the future of Nigerian cinema? Where, I mean, you know, where it is now and how you see it in the future. Let's go with Ronke first.
So there are a lot of, again, I made reference to this earlier, there are a lot of opportunities, and within those opportunities, some of them are exaggerated. So you have to be careful with what you
say that.
No. What I mean is that it's like Lewis Carroll said, only believe half of what you see and half of what you hear. But there's hope, you know, streaming apps, they need content, you know, there's so many streaming apps and they really need content. So it's a good time to be a filmmaker or a TV producer. And then, I mean, obviously this year has really been a dent to the film industry in terms of cinemas. Obviously most of us, I'm sure Seun, you grew up loving going to the cinema, eating your warm popcorn, watching whatever film is in front of you. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to that, but there are opportunities, but I also think that moving away from the streaming apps, because everybody wants that deal, everybody wants a licensing deal or a commission. I think there are ways. So for example, with Awani, we haven't, I mean, it's not over yet. I'm not going to throw the film away, but we haven't, you know, gotten a licensing deal. But we recently concluded sort of like a partnership with the African Women Development Fund to sort of share Awani with university students. And that brought in some revenue, you know, so you can sort of also find your own way. Of course, I mean, do I want a streaming app deal? Absolutely, like today, tomorrow, feel free. But I think you can also, with the internet, you can also sort of create your own avenues. I'm not saying create your own streaming app, that would be really capital intensive, but there are opportunities that you can create for yourself independent of cinemas and streaming apps.
Yeah, but I mean, streaming apps, don't you think we do need more of our own streaming apps, like on the continent?
We need our own effective streaming apps. So what I mean by that is, you know, you have to, if you're going to create a streaming app, I mean, assuming the technology has to be right, it has to be, you know, seamless, but you have to create the audience, you know. By the time Netflix came to Africa, I mean, how many people? I think 120 million. That's a very tough number to compete with. So it just has to be effective. And I think Iroko has really, like, I think they've really, if we're talking about an African streaming app, and then Showmax as well is not bad. So we're trying, but I agree with you. It just has to be done well, and that would be really expensive.
Yeah. So Seun, Nigerian cinema?
Nigerian cinema, if you say cinema as in theater.
Or film. You know,
yeah, I know. I'm getting there. If you say cinema as in theater, the building, I don't think we've never gotten to where we're meant to be. I think we only have about, I don't think we have up to 1,000 show houses. We don't. So there's no way a filmmaker will. In fact, I was in a meeting with one of the distributors in the country, and they can't. What they told us was they give us a benchmark. You want to do a movie for cinema, don't spend above this because we can't make your money back for you. Yeah, you get.
Please share the figure. I mean, I want to know. Share the figure.
Look, the figure was about 70 million. I think that was about $200,000 or so.
Okay. Was that too much, or was that around the right figure?
So that was the benchmark. Don't do anything above.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I think the next big thing now is video on demand, VOD, which is Netflix, Showmax, Iroko. So I think that's the next line we filmmakers are looking at now, because like I said, we can't really make enough money from the cinema. So we're looking at VODs, we're looking at other just to expand our options. You know, so the future is bright. The future is bright. Right now, I can record a movie on my phone, just in my room, and it will get out to millions. I can probably share it through Instagram, and again, in fact, and that's how a lot of content makers make money right now in Nigeria. Twitter, Instagram. So as long as you have the followers, you make some. In fact, right now, we kind of have partial. So if you want to forecasting, we kind of, especially for I would say the low end low budget movie, they kind of go for the people that has a lot of followers on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, because we know, oh, okay, if we use, oh, she has 1.2 million followers. If we use that in my movie, then hopefully 1.2 million people will see my movie. You get so like I said, the future is bright. And now we have. Sorry.
I was going to say your point about how filmmakers are making money on Instagram through social media really makes me think about the threats to social media that keep coming from the Nigerian legislature and how it will impact the film industry, you know?
No, we can't talk about that. We can't talk about
Why? We were based in America.
They know my address, so they know my house, so they know where I stay.
We don't have to get into it. I'm just saying social media has many functions.
Yeah.
You know, and one of
in fact, I would say it's one of the best things that happened to Nigeria in the last 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree, but I think with social media globally, not unique to Nigeria, my only issue with social media, not the freedom of speech, is the oversimplification of messaging on social media. So my issue with social media is that it's not a really good platform to communicate complex ideas. However, you know, when we're talking about women's issues or even race, as much as it's been a platform for some forms of activism, if we look at gender and race and identity and all these things that we talk about, they are very complicated. So what social media can do sometimes is create this very binary, me against you, men versus women, yeah, racist if you, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously racism, sexism is real, but I think one thing that I don't really enjoy about social media, again, people should be free to express themselves, but it's just the binary, the camps, and the non-progressive conversations that never really go anywhere, and the false moral superiority that comes with, it's true, that comes with
those are definitely the cons of
yes, but then everyone should have the freedom of expression. I mean, that bill is
And I think Seun's point about these platforms as distribution platforms being much more crucial for certain filmmakers than they are for those in Hollywood, I think is hugely important, you know.
Yeah, I know people that put that movie on YouTube right now. They just upload it on YouTube, and hopefully they will get the enough clicks, enough likes to make. I know the Yoruba industry made a lot of money, I know a friend that made about almost $50,000 on YouTube, streaming this movie on YouTube for free. So like I said, the future is bright if we can really tap into, but we still have a long way. We still have a long way to go. I feel like when it comes to distribution, I feel like when it comes to marketing, we still have a long way to go. But like I said, the future is bright.
Okay. Another question. If you could name a memorable moment in making your film. Go with Aderonke first.
So when I first screened my film at the ATL Festival in 2018, I was so nervous. I wasn't actually in there when the film was being screened. But afterwards, you know, my family came, a few friends came, and we had dinner, and I burst into tears because I've been working at this thing for 18 months, and just getting it out there, you know, people didn't hate it, you know, and it was, the response was really amazing. We as creators, we live in our own head and we think the worst and we catastrophize a lot. So that first screening, like there's nothing, it was the most, you know, liberating feeling ever.
Okay, so memorable moment? Okay.
Yeah, I'll still say it again. I have to give it up to my crew, but like I said, it was, so the first day, we shooting. We had a lot of delays, a lot of issues and everything. So we had to shoot straight into the night. So at the point in time, everybody was tired and I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And we have to check out from the apartment in the next morning by 10 a.m. So it was around 1 a.m. I was like, see guys, I don't know how we're going to do this, but in fact, I think we should just call it a wrap and let's. Everybody said no, that if like we shoot 24 hours, they're going to stand with me and we must finish this project. I was like, So like I said, I really appreciate people that I've ever worked with in this industry. They've really done a lot for me. So like I said, that's my just working with people. That's my memory moment. Working with people.
Yeah, filmmaking is definitely, it's not for the faint-hearted, you know. It's definitely not for the faint-hearted. If you don't have the passion and the resilience, it's not an easy industry. You know, you see people that in Nigeria, as they call it, the person, they don't blow. But they don't realize that the work that person has done to get where they are is not an easy thing, especially in a place like Nigeria, where the challenges are so unique to Nigeria. You know, I think we have a few more questions. Oh, upcoming projects. So any upcoming projects, Ronke?
So I have a documentary that I'm shooting the first quarter of next year. Very happy to announce it's a commission. I'm still the reason why it's first quarter is that I'm still doing research into it. So I can't say too much about the direction that I'm going in, but I'm really excited about it. It's another documentary. In fact, it should be a documentary series. I'm ready to do something a bit longer than I did with Awani. So I'm really excited about that. And also I'm hoping by the end of next year, funding willing, hopefully I meet an EP like Seun's EP. I want to take a go at fiction, but it'll be a short fiction film.
Okay. Well, you have a director right there.
Yeah.
Film.
Yeah, so we're in pre-production right now. We are scripting phase. We are scripting for hopefully my next big cinematic movie. So I'm going back and forth with the writer. I don't want to give it away, but it's something that deals with one of those myth stories we know about when we were kids. They used to scare us when we were kids. So,
is it a horror? Do you mind me asking? Is it horror?
So we don't really know. So that's one issue we have right now. We don't know what kind of direction to put. But people say don't do horror. But
Nigerians don't like horror.
No, but the funniest thing is that my generation growing up watching horror, really, Maya Matanga, all those Yoruba films, they were horror movies. Yeah. I really enjoyed when we were kids. So I don't know why this new generation say they don't like horror. I find it funny.
Because the idea is that what people say is that when you live in Nigeria, it's like living in a horror movie. So what?
Why do you want to watch a horror movie? In fact, funny enough, that's what the cinema guys say. In fact, that's why most of our movies that go to the cinema are slapstick comedy. But I tell you, everybody's depressed. They want to laugh. So this is a movie. It's too sad. People won't come and watch it and everything. But well, they might be right because it's their field. So
do you think people will go to the cinema and watch a horror movie?
Yeah, but they show American horrors in our cinemas and they make money.
Okay.
So why can't Nigerian horror make money? Paranormal activity made almost $1 billion in Nigeria. So why can't the Nigerian movie make money?
Yeah, maybe it's just the mindset that needs to change. Really.
That's true. That's right.
So I think that might be it in terms of questions. Prof, do you have anything else?
I mean, I think I was interested in the actors that you had in your film, Seun. They seemed, they were really, they're some real tough guys.
Don't make me choke, Joe. What happened to the actors?
They are fantastic actors. They are fantastic actors. So how did I even get them? So because of the short time we had, there was no time for casting. There was no time for. In fact, there was no money for cast and all that. So I have this production manager I work with, and I give him the script. She go through it, and she'll probably give me some few names that he thinks can play the part, and he gave me some names, and we string them down to and one of the reason, in fact, I think that at first, when I used the EP as the main guy, as my lead actor, but we just changed it that last minute. So, and again, it's a biking film. So the Okoni, which we plays, that played Anthony, he's a biker also. So he has the physique. He's a bike. He knows how to ride a bike and stuff like that. So it was really easy for us to go with him.
But one of the things I wanted to ask about, because you mentioned the fact that a lot of people use actors that have big followers. So I know your lead. What's his name? Kenneth
Okoli.
He has a lot of followers, right?
Yeah.
He was the villain, right? He was the.
No, he was the good. He was the
hero.
Yeah. And girls like him. They think he's a fine boy. So
what do you mean? Why did you go like that? Do they think?
I'm the guy. I won't know if it's fine boy if I see one. But they think he's a fine boy. And
he is.
Yeah. So apparently they say the young girls go to the cinemas because of the fine guys in the movie. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they say.
That's one thing I liked. You had a very, very nice looking cast. You definitely did.
And a fine director also.
Look at him, and a fine director. But nobody saw you now. They just see you here. Oh yeah, Prof.
I have one more question. Maybe one last question.
No, go on. We have like 10 more minutes.
And if both of your films, you have the Robin Hood. He comes in. There are shady, evil things happening, and he comes in. He saves the day. There are twists and turns. The viewers can figure out how everything gets pieced together. But he saves the day, and this is in Nigeria. There's a line in the film where the villain says, "Young man, where on earth do you think you are?" Nigeria, okay? And I was struck there. I was OBK the villain. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? This is Nigeria.
It means this is Nigeria. You can get away with anything.
Yeah. And but then the hero is there to kind of balance out the equation, right? The whole scheme balances out something in Nigeria. And Aderonke, your film is concerned with the past, but also the future, right? And it's the past where women had much more power. It was just normal for them to be authorities. It was a normal thing. The past before the colonial period and imported ideas of men and women kind of really took hold in Nigeria. And even the past before the Islamic period, you touch on that a little bit, right? Where also some might say imported. I know that's controversial, but Islamic ideas from elsewhere took hold in the North. So it's concerned with that past, the past that is no more, and maybe a future where there could be a different, women can experience a different kind of citizenship in Nigerian society. Right? So both films they're talking about Nigeria, but they're both talking about a Nigeria that is like a dream, either has passed and exists no more, or could come to be a Nigeria where villains don't get away with things because there's somebody there's a hero on a motorcycle who may come at any time. We don't know at the end. Will he be back? Is this war continuing? Has he won? What's going on? But in Nigeria, where there's somebody who can come, a superhero that you can call, who will save the day. And so they're both like visions of a Nigeria that is somehow more just, either for the powerful and the weak, or women and men, just more just somehow. And I was wondering if if this was conscious in your filmmaking practice from the beginning, the idea that you wanted the film to present a vision of something in the different Nigeria, where there's the possibility of justice.
Absolutely, it absolutely was. In fact, the creation of Awani, if anything, I was overly conscious about every scene, every bit of research that I did, and absolutely, because even while I was making the film, there's just so much that I'm not comfortable with, that I'm not happy with, and it was really how can I make my own life better? How can I make the life of my community better? And I mean, I'm no politician, it's through film. So, looking at the past, looking at the future, we can use the present to take some great things from the past and recreate our future. So absolutely, it was very deliberate.
How about you, Seun? Does Nigeria need a superheroes?
Yeah, filmmakers. That's to me, I feel, because one thing I think we are lacking right now in this part of the world is we don't really tell our own story. We don't really tell our historical stories, so to say. Like movies like Selma, movies like movie about Martin Luther King, movie about we don't really do that kind of movie, right? And
because the leaders are not good.
Yeah, because but to be fair, most filmmakers' fear is if you do those kind of movies, then the government will come after you. Example, half of the Yellow Sun, they didn't allow you show in the cinema for a while because they felt, oh, okay, you're talking about the very sensitive Nigerian history, so blah, 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 blah. So, but I feel filmmaking is one way where we can really, really, really tell our history and we can really archive our history, because they don't teach history in school anymore. So I think filmmaking is one way where we can tell our own history by ourselves. We don't have to wait for one white director coming from Nollywood saying he wants to tell a Nigerian story and everything. So I think it's now up to us to tell our own story so we can archive it, and the next 100 years, our great children can pick it up and say, oh, okay, they want to know about so history. So look, let me go and watch this movie and this and that. I think we filmmakers, we are the hero that needs right now.
And I also wanted to add to that, yes, I tried to be, but I also wanted to add that, I mean, look at what happened recently, and I know this isn't meant to be a political discussion, but
talk about the NSAS.
Yes, so, the piece that CNN did, and then the government trying to sanction it and say it's not true, it's also, telling stories, it should be for entertainment as well. Sometimes people just need to watch whatever, Spider-Man, whatever your favorite show, Game of Thrones, but sometimes it's to hold people to account. I mean, How many films have there been about the Holocaust? It's to make sure these things don't happen again. And I think that films don't really change the world. Obviously, it's policy, it's good leadership and infrastructure and all those, things. But I think films can play a role in ensuring that we don't forget. Thank God, thank God for the internet. Thank God for mobile phones. Thank God for filmmakers. Thank God for journalists. That this isn't something that they can just sweep under the rug, no matter how much they're trying to. And I'm not afraid to say that. Facts are facts.
Facts are facts. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why for the festival this year, we decided to focus on Nigerian film because of the NSAS movement. Because really, that wasn't the focus when we were thinking of launching this year. But this is our way of just celebrating Nigeria, bringing the different stories on one platform about Nigeria. Because most people, especially in this part of the world, all they hear are bad things about Nigeria. So this was just our way of saying, let's celebrate Nigeria. Let's assess our different stories. There's so many more stories that need to be told. And yes, things like NSAS, the last Q&A we had this morning, we talked about how that needs to be documented as well. Everything that's going on with NSAS now needs to be documented. Whether the government likes it or not, it's actually being done on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, like, the raw footage is just out there, right? If the way to kind of make some cinema verite film based on iPhone
exactly
video, like that would capture, that's the kind of thing that we capture that archive that people have been putting out, you know. But I love the way you guys, you know, see the role of the filmmakers in our culture going forward, you know, holding us accountable, offering a mirror, providing an archive, but also being the superheroes, giving us
I like that.
new heroes to take us into a new Nigeria, a new future.
Yes, and on that note, any inspirational words for upcoming filmmakers, Seun?
Me too, I'm coming. No, I need inspiration. Yeah, well, I just think shoot. Oh, I wish I can take my own advice. So just shoot. Even if it's with a phone, even if it's anything, you see a guy walking on the road talking about something, just shoot him. Just keep on shooting. Just keep on shooting. No matter what, no matter how, just keep on shooting.
Until you blow.
Until you blow. Yes, so until you blow.
Nigerians, everybody's waiting to blow. Blow. That's what Seun is waiting for. He didn't tell you that. Waiting to blow.
Yes, that's the aim now. That's the aim, is to blow.
Ronke, inspiring.
So just to build on what Seun said, and it's been great, you know, meeting you, Seun. It's don't give up, you know. Things are there's never going to be a perfect time. I think the news it lost maybe too much, but Nigeria is in the second recession under Buhari, 2 recessions. So that perfect story that you're waiting to tell, that perfect time, that perfect budget, the Naira is losing value. So you better do it now. So just shoot, not even because there's no such thing as the perfect film or the perfect time. It's gonna get harder and harder and harder to make anything, you know? What 30,000 Naira was in February can't get you half the things it used to be able to get you. So if it's financing, you need to be like Seun and just forget it, you know, just go for it. So just keep going. It's not easy anywhere. Being a filmmaker. So I think I'll just repeat what Seun says. Just shoot, just go for it.
Yeah, like I say to a friend of mine, this filmmaking business is a spirit. Once that spirit enters you, that you have no choice. Just to keep going and keep going until you blow. And even if you don't blow, everybody blows to a level. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know, because the blowing may just be being content. Like I had this series I was doing called Indigo Tongues. My goal was to do 13 episodes. It took me 4 years. One day a friend of mine said, Muji, why were you doing this 13? I said, because that was my goal. You know, the goal wasn't, well, along the way I thought, okay, who can I sell it to? I spoke to a few people, came to Nigeria. But the goal was 13 episodes. Now it's out there, the 13 episodes.
Wow.
Yes.
You have to share that with me. I'd love to see it.
Yes, I will send it at the end. You know, we send a wrap-up email. So I'll put that in the wrap-up email that we're going to send to you. I was supposed to send it to the other folks as well. Yeah, it's called Indigo Tongues, celebrating trailblazers from Africa and the diaspora. Mainly women. The
fantastic series, fantastic.
Yeah. So just do it. And that was self-finance. Yeah, she will even help me edit. We'll fight. You know, Seun is my brother, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying not to say it, but you can see Sonoiki. You can see Sonoiki. It's right there. So yeah, filmmaking is fun. It's fun. It's enjoyable, and this period where we're in now is perfect because there's so many storms all over the world. You know, there's so much going on, so there are more stories. Then things from the past are coming out. There's so many stories from the past we haven't even begun to tell. Even like the Biafra War. How many films are there about the Biafra War?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah. So you know.
So that's what I was saying. So we need to document our history through films. Yeah. So no matter, in fact, you can even if you say it's going to be boring, you can spin it up. You can make it a comedy, but as long as it's talking about our history. So if I say, because right now most things I know about America is probably through movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
true.
you
And
understand?
that was
So I think,
deliberate, you know. After
yeah,
the Second World War, the US government funded so
the,
many films, you know, to build up the morale of their citizens. So absolutely. Yeah.
and that's the thing. No government support here, not none whatsoever. In fact, I
Yeah,
even
they just want their money.
they're even taxing us. They even try to tax us on the literature. Literature, no, is Lagos State came up with a law saying, okay, for you to shoot in Lagos State, you have to pay some money to Lagos State Film, whatever. And my question to them is, if I pay this money and I'm shooting on Lagos Street, do I still have to pay the area boy? No, now yes, now. Cause so will I show them a receipt and say, oh, I've already paid the governor, so don't disturb me? Do you think area boy wants the area boy wants his own money? So what are they doing to help the creative? Not even filmmakers alone. I can't even go outside. I can't even go to the bus and say I want to take pictures without if I'm doing that, then I have to be on my toes, get ready to run. Unless somebody might snatch my camera and say, okay, I want you, you have to pay that boy money. You get, so what is the government doing? What is the government doing about going? I have Senegalese friends that are collecting free money from the government in Senegal and doing any kind of movie they want. You understand? So if I'm going to tell a serious story, then I need something that will make me be at peace. Like, okay, I can do this thing without thinking about, oh shit, how am I going to make this money back for this guy? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Or what am I going to find the money for to do this? Again, so funding and government support is really a big issue in this country.
So many things to think about, you know, but all these lead, you know, open up opportunities to, you know, there are people out there that do have money. One of the things we're trying to do with the foundation is create a film fund.
Yay!
Yeah, but you know, it
takes time, of course.
It takes time. You know, we've just started. We're a new foundation, but I think with the work that we've been doing, and people can see that we're serious about what we do. Maybe like you, Ronke, maybe we will have to tap into those international bodies like
absolutely,
like
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, funding is a big thing, and so I'm hoping that with the change in Nigeria, which I'm hoping, you know, because the change is happening all over the world, where younger people are getting more involved in policies and things. I mean, I don't understand how a country like Nigeria can't look at the film industry and what it brings to the country and not take it, you know, not pick that up or support it. Nollywood is phenomenal.
Yeah, but the question is, okay, I don't know if I can say this or I'm allowed to say this, but the question, even the people in the industry itself, are they ready to help themselves? When Jonathan was there, he released $200 million for the industry. Where is the money today? The gist is that only 10 people had access to it, and
some people ran out.
And that was the end of the story. So also, okay, they came up with another one from the Bank of Industry. You can approach them, collect money for creative, and it was still the same thing. They will still do the same. They're doing paddy, giving their paddies and everything. And
but were people making the work? Were people creating the work with the money?
I'll say, let's say 50%. So the other 50, they also take the money and they don't return it.
Yeah.
So as someone that lives off grants, amen.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's what I live off. The reason why I specifically go for grants and not loans is that, first of all, I'm in the documentary space. I cannot guarantee return on investment yet. We will get there, but we're not yet there. You know, emerging filmmaker, I'm not ashamed to say that. But all this one that you want to give creative loans, the industry is in its infancy. Yes, it has come a long way. We're doing phenomenal things. Netflix, they're writing checks. But it's not, I don't think, if you look at the UK, I'm not sure that this happens in the US, but Europe and the UK are phenomenal for creatives, right? Because they give grants. And another thing that I slightly resent in Nigeria is that before you can get any money to do, whether it's a TVC or a grant proposal, you have to register a company, right? in the UK and in Europe, you don't need to register any stupid company. Do you know what I mean? They give individuals artists, they give individual artists money. So whether you're a sculptor or a writer or a painter, whatever, they'll give it to you as an individual. So sometimes I find that creatives in our space, and it's something that I struggle with because I'm forced to be an entrepreneur. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the journey was never meant to be easy. It was never meant to be a slice of cake, although sometimes I wish it was. But I find myself like, you know, doing things that I if I were elsewhere, you know, and I was on a certain trajectory, of course, because, you know, it's not being else. I'm not saying it's easy being an artist. You know, the other places have their own unique challenges, you know, such as racism or whatnot, or systemic racism. It's just that you know, our environment really doesn't understand what we do, because I think Lagos State recently announced, oh, a 1 billion naira fund, and I looked at it. It's a loan. Yes, it might be a low interest loan, but come on, it's not. Some people, it takes time to build. What'd you say?
So basically, it's meant to profit off of the artist.
Yeah, but it's, as an industry that's in its infancy, that's not that. There's what I call like intangible benefits, right? So if we're looking at you make plantain chips for whatever 50 naira per bag or whatever, you sell it for 70 naira, then you make a profit. But with films, it's not that simple. So yes, we're providing jobs and employment, and that's very valuable. But that sense of identity, that information, you know, like I gave an example of Schindler's List. There's so many historical dramas of like interesting points of history. Films about Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady. Look at The Crown. They've just done, you know, commemorating the sacrifices and the journey of what it is to be a British royal. They're intangible benefits that aren't like, you know, it's not ROI. It's not, okay, 30% profit. Don't get me wrong. I'm hoping that one day I can say to someone, oh yeah, give me X million, you're going to get 20% on, you know, return on investment. But I don't think that's fair. Like I saw that Lagos State thing and I was just like, you guys don't understand the industry that you're trying to support, you know, or even let it be. Maybe if they're afraid that they're going to give loans, if they give grants, people will run away with the money, because that is, you know, that's also a possible outcome. But what if they say we'll fund, okay, if you come up with 50% of the money, we'll fund the other 50%. No, it doesn't have to be, okay, dash, which I love, you know, or if you have a track record, why are you giving me a loan? I won't apply for it. I won't.
Question. Do you think that Nigerian cultures appreciate the arts and their artists, but the government is not supporting the arts? Or is it the case that what the government is doing reflects the culture's relationship to the arts?
Joe?
I think people appreciate. In fact, if we don't appreciate our own, outsiders will. Nigerian music industry is the biggest in Africa. Nigerian artists are the most. In fact, I think Biscuit released an album and within 3-4 days he had over 10 million streams. You get so what are we saying? So even right here in Nigeria, people before I would say, as at 5-10 years ago, I was all about American hip hop, but now I can't even mention one American artist. It's all Nigerian songs, it's all Nigerian artists, Nigerian. So we really appreciate, but it's just the people in power that they don't know what the creative, they don't know what they can get in return from the creative. So all the other thing is, if you are not getting money, if you can't get money from these people, then. But right now, I can tell you, the entertainment industry is the third largest employer of labor in the country after telecoms and banking. The entertainment even employ more than the oil sector. Well, okay, yes, the oil sector make more money, but at least I had a guy walked up to me on my street and was like, oh, he heard I'm a filmmaker, that please, that because of the whole ASU strike and everything, that can it be going around with me and everything, just to learn this, blah, 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 blah. Now, if that boy goes on with me for like a year, he learns something, maybe blends camera or learns something. He makes some little change from that, and so that is a employment right there. Yeah, in fact, I can tell you, most Nigerian filmmakers, I can say 80% are not. They didn't learn filmmaking from from the four corners of well, what will I say, of the
film school.
Film school. I went to a film school, but most of people I know didn't go to a film school. They learned of just have like apprenticeship and stuff like that. You get, so if you take entertainment from Nigeria like right now, there'll be chaos. There'll be chaos. There'll be chaos. So
and I think
okay. So like I said, the government they don't understand what film can or the creative industry can do for the country. I'll give an example. Dubai. Within space of 10 years, Dubai went from desert to become one of the most I don't know what I can call it. But do you know the government of UAE fund American movies just to come and Hollywood just come and shoot in Dubai? What that does is, oh, you see this, oh man, this Dubai is fine. Oh, I want to go to Dubai. I want to go to this particular building where Tom Cruise jump off the building, blah 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 blah. That is making money for the country, but the country spends money. So it's like publicity, but we don't do that. If we go to Lagos State and say, Lagos State, you know what? I want you to give me money so I can shoot in Lagos State to promote Lagos State. They'll be like, I beg. We don't, because they don't understand how it works. They don't understand how it works. When I went to Abu Dhabi, and I told someone, oh, I'm from Nigeria. You're from Nigeria, and the first thing I said was, oh, do you know Genevieve? Are you Genevieve's brother? I'm like, everybody can be Genevieve's brother now. But how did they know Genevieve? It's through our movies. And so if they can know someone, so imagine our movies goes round the world, then people will know about the country, yeah. So if you see this movie, what's it called? Up North. That was a fantastic PR for Bauchi State. In fact, when I saw that movie, I was like, I'm going
to. But they partially funded it, from what I hear.
Yeah. So Bauchi State partially funded. So that's what I'm saying. Now I know a lot of people that want to go to Bauchi just because of that movie.
It's like Lionheart. I've never been to the East. When I saw Lionheart, I thought, oh, I didn't even know there were hills.
Like this, yeah.
I didn't know there were hills in Enugu. So I just think it's the people that are making the policies, the people that are in government. We know the answers. That's the thing. We know we just don't have the right type of mindsets in the right types of places.
Do artists need to start running for office?
I don't want to.
Wait, we have some already.
To some degree, why not?
We have some already, but they say when you're in Rome, do like Roman. We have people like Desmond Elliott. Alize was in there. So we have people in the government right now that came from the district, but when they get there, when you're in Rome, do like Roman, Jari.
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, there are quite a few, and I also think some artists who. You also have to look at their intentions, right? So the people who go into government rarely have good intentions anymore. And I can say this with some confidence. You want to hammer, you want contracts, you want to give contracts to your friends. So even the artists that are there that are meant to be representing us, their constituents, the citizens, they don't really care. But I don't know. It's tough. But what I like about the government not being involved, although earlier on this year, they really tried it. They tried to get us to register something. And it's funny, my lawyer called me. They're like, Ronke, don't you think you need to register? I was like, when Moabudu registers, then I'll register. For now, I'm not registering, When if Moabudu sees value in it as a leader in the industry, then But what I like about the government not being active is that sometimes the government can kill a very good thing. Yes, it would be nice to have financial support and policies and different things. Earlier this year, I was in the Berlinale Film Festival just as a guest, like just watching films. I want my films to get into bigger festivals. So I wanted to see the kinds of films that were there. And, Nigeria, the Nigerian booth, they never, no one showed up, but someone paid. There were people paid, they paid their tickets, they paid their accommodation. Different countries are meant to represent them. You should have seen the different countries. I think Israel had it was not only did they have an amazing booth with their films, but you could also eat some Israeli food. It's a big deal, right? Nigerians did not man their booths. They didn't do anything. And there was one Nigerian film there and a Brazilian-Nigerian I think it was a co-production, Cidade Passaro, Shine Your Eyes, which is now on Netflix. They didn't do anything, you know? So, but I think what is great for Seun and I, even though it's not even deliberate, but they don't interfere with us. We can make our films. We don't have to, you know, send some report or whatever. Like we're truly free, even though we don't necessarily have the infrastructure that we need. Like we don't, they can look at what they've done to the currency. You know, that's the Nigerian government, you know? So sometimes it's a blessing, I think, because I don't have much respect in their understanding of the creative industry. And when I say, I don't say that to be rude, but
I understand.
We can see it, and this is evidence-based, right? It's nothing personal. So in a way, I don't want them until they really understand that they have a plan, you know, like let it even be, I'd love to see a plan for the fashion industry. I'd love to see a plan for the music industry. Obviously, I want a plan for my film industry, but at least let's start somewhere. There's so much raw talent across the creative industry, you know. Nigeria used to be, textiles used to be the biggest employer of labor, you know, and then some policies came and just destroyed that industry. So I also feel that until we have great competency, we don't really want them in our industry. I don't.
Yeah, but in a way, I think they interfere in a way, like especially if you want to get movies on the cinema platform. Censorship board. So like, and most of people on the board are all these 60, 70-year-old MFM Mountain of Fire past women that yes, now if you see the way they censor Nigerian movies, I know people that they're gonna be edit that movie almost 50% just for that movie to get on screen.
Wow.
You get, yeah. A friend of mine, so that come out with a movie coming out next year called City of Bastards. They were like, no, so you are saying Lagos is a city of bastards? No, that name is not acceptable. You have to change it. But like, no, sir. They're like, no, that's not what he means. As in, it was. I know it was. The meeting was funny. So again, so I think in a way, they kind of interfere, but not in the big scheme of things. And yeah, so what if you do a movie that is against the Nigerian government? Trust me.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It won't see light of day.
They made it very clear that they're not. Yeah. We've also seen the darkness of the.
Yeah, but that's now. You know, change is bound to happen. You know.
So that's why I said that the social media is a good thing. Like those kind of thing now. If I do a movie like that, I'll just put it out on social media for free. Yeah. So if you like, there's gotta meet YouTube and tell YouTube not to show it. Yeah, so in a way, it's just a bit of okay.
Yeah, so we need to wrap up.
Okay, thank you so much.
The thing about Nigerians, I tell people this all the time. Once we start talking about Nigeria, it's over. We can be here till tomorrow. So let's time out our darling country. We love you. We miss you. Either we're not there. But we know what the issues are, and I'm glad we were able to have this conversation, because the whole point of a festival like this is let's hear the younger African voices. Let's see what people are doing. Let's meet, even if it's just online. Let's connect. You know, we can't go to festivals at the moment, but at least we can go to festivals online.
Festivals can come to us. Thank you.
Exactly. You know, so thank you, Prof. Dr. George. Thank you, Seun. Thank you, Ronke. The festival continues till tomorrow. You can get all the information on our website, africanfilmfestatl.com. I think Awani stopped showing yesterday, but Seun's film, Land of Filth, is showing till about midnight tonight. So those that haven't watched it still have time to watch it. So thank you again. Stay safe.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
All right. Bye.